Hello, welcome into the Cafe Nightly Show. It is the 29th of January, 2025. It happens to be a Wednesday, and not a lot of news directly on the Upland front, but except if you're watching the Twitter. We've had this little bit of Twitter saga for the last couple days, some hints at a little X marks the spot. What does this X mean? Is this X tied to Twitter? And by golly, it is. We're looking at the X Stacks, the first game, supposedly, according to Upland, will be the first native game on Twitter launching at some point in the not so distant future, with a game trailer out now, with some hints and some suggestions about what the future of X Stacks looks like and how it ties into earning, winning, and potentially moving Sparkly into the game of Upland. What that whole ecosystem looks like in Upland's previous promises of trying to bridge the gap between multiple areas, multiple platforms, and how this might do that. And that's about what we've got for announcements. So we'll get into that in a little more detail. We did get a collector score challenge update as well. So 2025 collector score for Frost season. We've got more details on that. We already were announced that that is going to be part of the Frost season, but we have some additional notes on that leaderboard. So we'll get into that as well. Other than that, again, we do look forward to Frost season starting next week, or starting this Saturday. So we'll get into just a reminder to be ready for it. For tonight, let's get the disclaimer out of the way so we can get going. All views and opinions expressed by myself, they're mine and mine alone. Should we take this game strategy or financial advice? Don't represent the game of Upland, team of Upland. If we have any guests or contributors, they have their own opinions, so welcome to them. Should be taking this game strategy advice. They don't represent the game of Upland, the team of Upland, and myself, the goals with the Cafe Nightly Show. Good to see you, California Trading Company. Glad you're here. Let's jump in and take a look at that collector score first and foremost. That announcement again dropping this afternoon. The collector score challenge for Frost season 2025. Again, reminder that this is already part of the announcements, the broad announcements yesterday. Upland did say they will be putting out more specific versions of these announcements on a case-by-case or individual basis, and here is one of them. We're excited to bring you the second ever collector score challenge, this time for the Frost season 2025 Ice Dragon season. The collector score is a system that evaluates your collection of Block Explorers season passes, city passes, and badges. By holding these collectibles, you'll earn points and establish your status as a top-tier Upland collector. There are two ways to prove your collector status: seasonal leaderboards and all-time leaderboard. The Frost season marks the second ever seasonal collector score leaderboard, running until Wednesday, March 19th at 9 a.m. PT. That means we're going to get started here for Frost season. We're going to have some sales. We're going to have some purchases. We're going to have some badges you can earn during the season. And that's what's going to accumulate and count until the 19th of March. Let's get in a little more detail here. Burn items do not count towards your score, so keep these valuable assets. Again, if I burnt a Block Explorer, if I burnt a pass during the season, it's not going to count towards my pass scores. If I burn something and I earn a badge, well, then that badge is going to have a little more value for me. So something to keep in mind. Again, we're looking at what the season passes we have, Block Explorer, city passes that we have at the end of the season, and obviously badges, significant portion of that score as well. The system is still in open beta, which means Upland's going to continue to move things around. It exists outside of the Upland platform for now. We do have the leaderboard to go and check, but it's not integrated in that layer one access that we'll like to have in the future. The leaderboard tracking all players' collections, again, is going to be a linked leaderboard. Our goal is to refine and eventually integrate into being directly in the game. There are two ways to prove your collector score prowess: again, seasonal, and then the all-time leaderboard. All-time leaderboard, Upland's talked about having contests at specific times, having rewards at a specific time. Right now, we're worried about the seasonal leaderboard. They reset every 6 weeks, so from now until the 19th of March is what we're looking at, again, starting at the beginning of Frost season. Tracks the collectibles released during that specific season to encourage continued active engagement during that season. Rewards are given at the end of the season based on final standing. So it doesn't matter what you have on day 1 or day 2 or day 3. It matters what you have at the end of the season. In case of a tie, the first player to reach the points total secures the higher position. And again, we had already mentioned this idea that this goes until the 19th. The season ends the 15th. Why have it end after? It gives Upland the opportunity to distribute badges, which have points. And just keep in mind, people still have the ability to move around, buy, sell, swap assets towards the end from between the 15th and the 19th. Between the 15th and 9th. And again, like I said, if you'd earned a badge that culminates at the end of the season, you get that get time to receive that badge to count towards your score. The Frost Season Challenge. The Frost Season marks the second ever seasonal collector score leaderboard. Again, it runs until the 19th of March to ensure all season challenge rewards are accounted for on that leaderboard. This gives players a fair shot at maximizing their score before the final standings are locked in. Compete for incredible rewards, including exclusive collectibles that not only showcase your achievement, but also boost your all-time collector score. Again, if you get a rare Block Explorer as a prize, that rare Block Explorer is going to count towards your overall leaderboard score. The lower the mint count, the fewer that there are minted of a Block Explorer, the higher that value that Block Explorer has towards your collector score. Excuse me. Prizes, first through third at the end of the season, they do get a 3-headed dragon Block Explorer. They get 1,000 Sparklet and a season collector score badge. 4th through 10th, they get 500 Sparklet or a half a spark, 3-headed dragon Block Explorer, and then finally 11th through 25th, they don't get the Sparklet, they don't get the badge, but they do get that Block Explorer still. Top 25, obviously, getting the 3-headed dragon Block Explorer. Looks a lot like this. Three heads, all blue. Not a bad little Block Explorer. Again, 25 of those total available. Season Collector's Badge available, like we see here, for the top 3 there. How to collect and how do we keep track of collector score? How is it calculated? Block Explorers are 30% of that score overall. Passes are 20%. Badges are 50%, which means if you want to win, the best way to do so, or the best way to move towards the top of that leaderboard, is to earn as many badges as absolutely possible. That includes the badges that you could be earning through participation and winning for early minting in whatever cities released or whatever areas released. Any badges for contests during the season, the badge that you earn for buying and burning the pass for the cosmetic pass. Those are all things that you want to try to earn this season to get points towards your score. Passes, obviously, there's city passes and season passes. Buying and holding counts towards your score. If it's burnt, it doesn't count towards your score. You would have to continue to hold a unburnt pass. And Block Explorers, obviously, there will be a couple Block Explorer sales, possibly Block Explorers earned during the season. Those are going to count towards that score as well. Again, in terms of the overall leaderboard, it has its own rules. Age matters, but when we're talking about the season, it's what is available during that season. Passes, again, any of the passes for city passes, any seasons passes that you haven't burned, those all count here. And then badges, again, you earn a badge in that season. That is what's going to count towards your score. Get collecting. This is a competition for seasonal dominance, holding an all-time legacy by, again, building your overall all-time leaderboard score up and build your collector status for the season with potential prizes, but with people, again, trying to manage your collector rank so they know who they are, what they are, and a little bit of a feather in their cap if they have a strong collection, which I know a lot of people have had no way to quantify it, and that's what the collector score is all about. That's it. That's the update of what we are looking at. Again, we're going to continue to see a couple more of these drops with more details as far as the specifics of Frost Season version of contest. That's going to be for racing. We'll see that. We'll get more information on the ornament contest, which is now no longer a season-long contest. Now it's a time frame contest. We'll expect to see more of these announcements. Expect to see announcements about when the Block Explorer sales are, etc. The new city potentially this season. We're going to get a lot of announcements, but this is one of them. So that's one of our trickling in. And then let's go back to Twitter, because that's where we have to be. We have to be on Twitter if we want to take a closer look at this. And here it is. We're going to watch this together. If you haven't seen it, now's the time. If you have seen it, I hope you have been, in general, one of those people who are jumping up and down and having a conversation and asking what this means. And we'll talk a little bit about it. Stacks first game on X, native gameplay on X. Again, Upland talked about being native on mobile, being one of the first games to push forward native to mobile. Now they're talking about making a game native to X, and that's it. That's the teaser trailer. We got a couple other announcements. The way this was been put forward on Twitter, people have been or the team of Uplands have put out a couple things. They have a little bit of Miles here playing stacks, it looks like, and it shows you a little bit of the gameplay and a quick overview without the actual game being available to be released, without actually having the next step. We're going to see this announcement pop up in Upland, but again, it is part of the things of you have to keep your eyes open to all the avenues of Upland's communication to see what's going on. In this case, Upland has not yet put to Discord. They haven't put the official announcement out, but they have teased it on Twitter, and go figure. It's going to be something that's going to be pushed through on Twitter. Twitter is the first place that they have announced it, and we are waiting for more details. But what we do see, if we go back and we kind of try to break down a little bit the quick trailer that we see here, we see that we have leveling, we have points that people are earning, we're going to see leaderboard contests. We're going to see that also looks like there's some notes here that there is going to be some cumulative leaderboard contest potentially working within a team, within a group that we happen to see here, that we could have teams that are going to be on, and again, competitive leaderboards here as well. This is something that has already been, there's already notes on this that the teams put out there about earning Sparklet. So this is a big potential onboarding event. Maybe the Upland's trying to do that, where they're trying to find people where they are, bring them into Layer 1 Upland. Again, Sparklet, if you earn Sparklet in order to redeem that Sparklet, just like the drops, you have to establish that Upland account to redeem that original Sparklet. If that's the case, you get into stacks, you play stacks, you earn prizes, and you really want to redeem those prizes, well, you have to get an Upland account in order to do so. That's likely what we see, or one of the ways we see this as a bleeding edge lead in game. It's an acquisition, potentially bring people into the game of Upland, but also it's this idea that Upland has talked about for the last several years, and that is merging ecosystems, having metaverse platforms tied to metaverse platforms. Whether or not we want to say that social media in and of itself is its own type of metaverse, some people have made that argument. With or without an interactive gamification layer, we could say that any type of major, massive communication forum that everyone's building their own representation of themselves and interacting with others, that could be considered a metaverse or a part of the metaverse as well. And if that's what we're looking at here, again, Upland trying to leverage the size, leverage the scope of Twitter. Keep in mind that Upland has 40,000 people on Discord that it reaches out to. If you look at Upland's official, they have 211.2 followers. That's over 211,000 followers on X. So if we kind of look at those numbers, reaching more people with the potential of, if people really are trying to see the first ever game on Twitter, if that's what happens and it gets announced and people see it, if that's really the way this stacks up as Twitter gets its first games, or first integration of games into Twitter, we're gonna see that as be a big push for Upland. And I'm sure this positioning is not accidental. The timing's not accidental. Upland has kind of pushed Sparklet for a bit to kind of broaden the scope, broaden the idea of bringing people who are crypto native, people who are not crypto native. Right now is obviously a very strong time for people who are not crypto native to start to see crypto events and say, how do I get involved? To see coins and say, how do I get involved? How do I earn? How do I win? How do I buy? So this is kind of the right time if everything is going to hit, if this is all going to get announced in the not so distant future. So keep your eyes out, keep your head on a swivel. And just a reminder here, we've seen a couple of these announcements where they're 2 weeks out. There's seen some of these announcements where they're 2 months out, and some of these announcements where they're 2 years out. I think that this is probably sooner rather than later, but don't necessarily expect this to be tomorrow at this point. And an Upland, go ahead, surprise me. Make this be tomorrow. I won't cry. A couple other notes here. Definitely worth noting. Obviously, XYO introduced its own blockchain, a blockchain, their own blockchain they're going to be layering on. Upland, official partner of XYO. So it's kind of interesting to see that happening here. And again, it's one of those stories of follow Upland's Twitter because there's notes they're putting out there. They're not putting out in any other communication location. So Stacks is the big piece of that. Timing on this, as we do watch out, we will talk more about it and the details. And the details are going to be what makes the game the game. WW Dog, good to see you. Yes, it is exciting news. This is an opportunity again to onboard a lot of people. I don't know if Upland's going to see it as more of a standalone, but ultimately, if rewards are sparklet and Upland can control where people redeem their rewards, and the rewards get pushed into you have to have an Upland account. That is a huge onboarding potential. We'll have to see how this plays out, but I think it is a matter of leveraging the market and what exists. And people have talked about how do we tie layer 2 and layer 1, and the idea of UGC layer 2 versus Upland layer 2. I call this an Upland layer 2. This is a gamification that's tied to the Upland metaverse, but is actually done outside of the metaverse, tied directly to Twitter as well. So we'll see how this runs. Other than that, we do have a quick reminder. We can continue to remind ourselves this coming Saturday is the 1st of February. That'll be the start of Frost season. We may get or should get future announcements between now and the 1st, including the pass sale, obviously the cosmetic pass sale. We know that we have our season already, our season theme of the Ice Dragons. We already know that we have that overview of some of the changes to the seasonal competitions and how those work. But we're going to look for those more details in the next coming couple days. For tonight, I'm going to say thank you so much for being here. Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. PT. We do get together in the Upland Discord Cafe, obviously on YouTube, on Twitter as well. And if you're in the Upland Discord Cafe, it does remain open after the show, before the show, and throughout the day. So feel free to unmute your mics. The floor is yours.